Jim Hubach for Illini R, Illini Rants. It's usually Illini R&R, Rants and Raves, but not a whole lot to rant about tonight, I'm afraid. The Illini did pull out a victory in triple overtime by a score of 110 to 101. Oh my gosh, what an unbelievable ball game. This was a crazy one. And Illinois went to Rutgers, and Rutgers was hoping to get their first Big Ten win of the season, but they couldn't quite do it. Almost, but not quite. And it was a bizarre game for sure. We go to the beginning where Illinois had two injured players from earlier this week, Kendrick Nunn and also Michael Finke. Nunn did end up starting the game with his banged up hip, and he did not play that well. He obviously wasn't 100%. Michael Finke was on the bench in his street clothes. He was out for the whole game, and hopefully he will be back. But he had that knee pretty well battered in the Wisconsin game. Illinois came out and started the game with Maverick Morgan as the only front court player. And they did grab a 5-point lead at the beginning, but then they had a lot of defensive collapses there in the first half, and Rutgers grabbed the lead, and they led at halftime 40 to 37. Second half was pretty painful, but the Illini kept battling back, kept it close, and it ended up going into overtime. The end of regulation was 75 to 75. The Illini had a chance there. Khalid Lewis missed a pretty easy shot underneath, which probably would have sealed the game for us, but he missed it, and Rutgers was able to tie it and send it into overtime. During that first overtime, Illinois built up, a 7 or 8 point lead there, and it looked like they were going to win it, but somehow they let it slip away, and Rutgers came back, they fought, they tied it, and they sent it into a second overtime. It was 87-87 at that point. And it just kept getting crazier and crazier. It goes to a third overtime, 93-93 at the end of the second one. And just a lot of mistakes in this game by both teams. I just have to be honest about it. These are two bad teams, folks. And at least at this point, both teams are really struggling, but obviously there's a lot of injuries too, so that plays a big factor. As far as scoring-wise in the game, Malcolm Hill was the leading scorer with 34 points, but did not really have that good of a game. Half of those points were from the free throw line. He was 19 for 22 from the line, and almost all of those were in the third overtime, so that was a pretty amazing performance from the free throw line for Malcolm. I'll give him credit for that. But the guy that really saved us in this game was Jalen Coleman-Lands, the freshman, 26 points. And that is a record for him for a high game, and 6 3-pointers out of those 26. And Maverick Morgan with a decent game. He had 20 points tonight. So it was painful to watch, but somehow the Illini pulled it out in 3 overtimes, 110 to 101. And the Illini now 3-7 in the Big Ten, 11-12 overall, and Rutgers falls to 0-10 in the Big Ten. Next game up is at home in Champaign against the Iowa Hawkeyes, and let's just hope Michael Finke comes back, but this one could be brutal, folks. And that is Sunday at noon for the next one. So have an orange and blue evening, and we did manage to get a win tonight. We'll catch you next time.